Hey everyone, Pastor Stump here with a Monday edition of my reflections on the Still Speaking devotional from the United Church of Christ. I really just want to affirm today what our writer Tony Robinson said. As I'm standing here in our prayer garden at Zion Blue Mountain, I see bulbs starting to poke through. There's some tulips right in front of me, and maybe you can see them coming through the flower bed over there. Some more tulips and lilies coming up. And how amazing it is that we put them in the ground in the fall and we let them alone. And we trust them to do what they're to do. Whatever comes forth from them will come forth. And we trust God to do that work in the way God has set nature into motion. And here they are in early March, poking forth from the ground, and before long, hopefully right on time for Easter, they'll be blooming and bringing us great joy and brightening the grounds of this church. And that's just what we have to do sometimes. We plant the seeds, or we scatter the seeds, and we let God to do God's work, trusting that someone else's journey is not exactly like our own, and that we can only do but so much in that. You know, I'm a hunter, and I used to belong to this hunting club that practiced the Quality Deer Management Program from the Quality Deer Management Association, and we had this saying, let them go so they can grow. And the idea was that if we didn't shoot the younger male deer, the bucks, that they would grow up and grow into more trophy bucks. You just had to have the discipline, though, to leave them go, to not harvest them, and to let them go so that they could grow another year. Oftentimes, and of course a different fashion, we have to do that with people in our lives and in our churches as well. We have to trust things to God's work and to the work that God is doing within others. I've often been surprised that by letting go of things, how they take care of themselves. It may not always be the case, and there are times where we do need to use the gifts that we've been given to take care of things. Sounds like some equipment coming by, and do what God has gifted us to do in this world. But there's other times where our gifts are just not enough or not necessary, and God will cover that, and we let it go to God's will. The other thing I want to share about this that I thought of is how Tony mentioned the role of parents and principals and pastors, trusting and remembering that those people that we care for are not ours, that they belong to God. I certainly feel that as a pastor often, but in a more personal note, for a longer period of time in my life, I've been a parent. And early on in becoming a parent, probably even before my daughter was born, I saw her as God's child first, entrusted to me to care for her. And I think it's really helped me become a better parent in time when, especially those times when I remember that what I'm doing by raising this child is not for me alone, but for God as well. And that God has given me this great responsibility to parent her and to love her as if she was God's own, which she is just as much as anyone else's. Maybe that's something to keep in mind as you're parenting, or even being a child of parents, and that you belong to God and that your children belong to God. And that might help make some parenting decisions as well in your life, that it's not always about us and our will, but it's about God's will and abilities in our lives. So take care, everyone. Hopefully that helps add a little bit more to the devotional. I hope you're reading them. They're certainly saying more to you than I can in just a few minutes. So read them, listen to this video, pray about it, and think about it more. Revisit them again, and some thoughts will come to you in those times. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.